Good morning. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Brand Momentum Morning Show. I'm your host, Faith James, and we are continuing our discussion on resistance and how to break through resistance. So if you are joining me live, go ahead and enter the studio. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching us on replay, just go ahead and type #replay and I will come back in. Let's see who's in the studio. Good morning, Amber. Beautiful. Thank you for always being here. So good to have you. So how has this week been so far, right? We're at Thursday, closing in on Friday. How was the breaking through the resistance? I know, Amber, you shared that you had made such amazing progress on getting your art collection together and organized and getting ready to make some moves on that. Good morning, Melody, my love. How are you? So yeah, I want to know how it's been going for you. And I'm hoping that you're finding this series particularly helpful because once you can break through resistance, you literally can do anything. Because then, as we talked about in yesterday's show, you're going to feel the fear but you're going to just do it anyway. Like you become unstoppable. Nothing makes you quake in your boots. You just move forward with the knowing. And I'm going to share with you again my way of just moving through is because I always go for counsel, right? With God. God, you know the desires of my heart. You know why I am doing the thing that I am doing. Good morning, AJ, my love. How are you? Why I'm doing the thing that I'm doing. You put this in my heart. You put the burning desire, the fire in my belly. And I am being obedient to your calling. And so if this thing that I'm about to enter upon is not for me, if this ain't it, make it go away. Let it not be a harm to me. Just get it out of my midst. But if it's the thing, if this is it, just make it be known, make it be very clear to me. Show me the light, show me the way. And when you do that, my loves, you're covered. You are covered from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Because you let God know you are all about his business. What you're doing is the calling that he put here. So let's read. The section we're focusing on today is a professional reinvents himself. Goldie Hawn, actress, Goldie Hawn observed that there are only 3 ages for an actress in Hollywood: Babe, DA, and Driving Miss Daisy. She was making a different point, but the truth remains. As artists, we serve the muse. The muse may have more than one job for us over a lifetime. The professional does not permit himself to become hidebound within one incarnation, however comfortable or successful. Like a transmigrating soul, he shucks his outworn body and dons a new one. He continues his journey. Just wow. Reinvent. Don't let anyone's expectation on you, of you, say that this is the thing that you only should be doing, right? So if I use Melody as the example, right? So Melody has been in corporate hospitality for over 26 plus years. But what is Melody doing right now? She is getting ready to shuck off and don a new robe, a new identity, a new soul as a CEO of herself, CEO and founder of Pro Event Planners. The professional keeps reinventing themselves. And regardless of where you are in your business right now, always be looking for ways that you can continue to evolve, to grow, to just be in this posture of more life. And so my mentor, David, talks about more life, that you're not stagnated, because remember this idea that we're all energy. And so if you're not growing, you're dying. There's no in between. People think that they're just like coasting and just kick back. That's not universal law. We're either growing, expanding in the quest for more life, or we're dying. It's right. It's this or it's that. So think about, for you, the resistance could be, well, I've been doing this thing for 10 years, 20 years. It's what I know. It's what I'm good at. I can do it. I'm not going to try this other thing. Even though you have a fluttering in your heart, you're like, no, I've been doing this for the longest time, so I'm just going to stick with that. That's known, that's comfortable, that's safe. That's where then resistance gets you. Because if you ever dared to answer a little bit the calling in your heart that says, hey, maybe you should try this too. Maybe you should explore this. And I'm not saying be doing 50 million different things at once. But what I'm saying is to have an agreement with yourself that stagnation is not in your DNA. It's not in your gene makeup. And that you're always looking for ways to, how can I evolve, improve, get better, reinvent this idea of, even if you're already the CEO of you, reinvent this idea of, how am I showing up to serve my people, right? So always be in exploration or excavation of the thing that you're doing to say, is there a better, different way to do this? When you think about our cell phones, right? Everybody's got their cell phone with them. First of all, this thing never existed, right? However many years ago. It was just a landline. That was it. And the landline served its purpose, and you did the road, right? The telephone was awesomeness when that came out. Why would there even be a need to reinvent itself, right? Just stay being a landline. Just, get the really long telephone cord. Did you guys ever have those? The really long telephone cord, so the phone could be in the living room, and you're in your bedroom, but you're on the phone because you got is it just me? Nobody has ever had that. But that's the point, right? The telephone, I could speak to whomever I needed to speak to. And that was, right, the main purpose. But the continuing evolving, even within now the cell phones themselves, people complain and they go, oh my gosh, not a new what are we up to now? i12? That's to show you the model for which you need to embody, always be in reinventing, reincarnation. So this that I have is the 10, the 10XR. Now they're up to 12. So you can either see that and go, oh, that's pressure, it's so much stress, now I got to get a new phone. Or you can look at it and go, wow, yes, the camera lens are dynamite. I want to get that because I want to be able to take pictures of myself, my selfies of wherever I am doing things in my business, and have it look pro, even if I didn't use a professional photographer to do it. Reinvention. Good morning, Deb. Thanks for joining, beautiful. Yes, reinvention is a good thing. Invention is a good thing. A reimagining is a good thing. Right? Your sofa. The sofa, when it was invented, its only purpose was you sit down, watch the television, have a chat, sip your tea, you sit till you want to sit no more, and then you're gone. The reinvention of the sofa bed. Now, in addition to sitting and watching the TV and chit-chatting, now you can sleep in it. Now you can have guests have a place that's more comfortable than an air mattress. It's why multi-million-dollar brands spend a lot of time on, who's ever heard of R&D, research and development? You, my lovelies, need to embody this idea of having your own R&D department. And research and development, they get a budget and they just go. Their only goal is to reimagine the product and services for their company in a new, different, better way, right? So in thinking about what you solve, the problem that you solve, is there a new, different, better way that I could be showing up to solve those problems? So don't see it as like, oh, it's a thing. Oh my gosh, not another model I have to do. Yes, say yes to it. Like, wow, right? Before, the only way we could get across this country was by railroad or automobile. Now we get on a jet plane. Before, the only way a car would go was gasoline. Big major brands reimagined, hybrid, fully electric. Next, we're just gonna, and right now we have, auto driving or auto parking car. So think about this. Why would these big companies, these massive multinational brands, why would they spend these tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in research and development when they have a fully functioning vehicle? They have a fully functioning phone. They have a fully functioning sofa. It's more life. Everybody, hashtag more life. More life. You want to always be looking, just like in nature. Nature is always in a forward movement. It's always an expansion. It's always seeking more light. When you have a plant and the plant even gets a whiff that there's some direct sunlight coming from this area of the room, what does the plant do? It does that. It's leaning toward the light, more life, right? It's not just saying, well, you know what? It's been 5 years in this house and I've been doing okay. I've been growing. My leaves they look pretty okay. I don't need to go stretch for this thing here. But now it's like, wait a minute. They just moved me and I'm closer now to this thing called a window, and I see my source of more life, God's sun. It's doing this. It's leaning toward the light. You guys think about that. You watch a plant, move a plant around your house and see what happens. It's the same thing for us. We need to be always leaning more to the more life. We need to always be leaning more to how can we get fuller expression in the way we're showing up, in the things that we do. If it's a matter even of how you are present with your family, what are some ways that I can deepen connection with my family members? So I think it was over the holidays. And of course, because we were social distancing and we, weren't doing like the big, huge parties or anything like that. It was just me, Jim, and Fancy. And we love trivia. So, and I subscribe to this, I forget the name of it now, trivia something, where it'll just email, little trivia things. So, right, in thinking of like, okay, reinvent staying home, doing social distancing, I'm going to do like my own, just kind of like impromptu trivia. So I would go through and ask Jim the questions, and we would keep score and we would just have a really good time. And that's just like a little way of reinventing, oh, we're stuck at home, we can't go out and have a party. So we don't just sit there and go, all right, let's see what else is on Netflix. How can we show up more present in each other's life? Let's play some impromptu trivia. It works on any level, personal or business. Good morning, Arlene. Yes, moving toward the light gives us more life. Tons of doors opening for me. God is amazing. Amen. Isn't he amazing all the time? Like just all the time. The minute you signal to God, I hear you, I am being obedient, I am walking in the path that you have set forth before me, I want you to see yourself like the children of Israel. When he's like, there you go, promised land dead ahead, Red Sea parted. Like, that's what he's going to do for you when you come into agreement with his will for your life. Very simple. And that's why when I said at the top of the hour, to get out of the resistance and the fear of, well, if I try this thing, it's going to fail. Like, okay, Faith, I do, I sell, supplements and to help people have more vitality in their life. What would that even mean? How would I do that? Right. And if I did that, it's going to mean X, Y, and Z. So what you do is, when you're in ideation, when you're thinking of ways that you can be reinventing, you don't let the kind of like how it's going to get done, or that's going to require budget. In advertising, when we have a brainstorming session, a creative brainstorming session where we're coming up with campaign ideas for a client, we say this is a yes and meeting. Somebody hashtag yes and. What that means is nobody, I don't care if it was the CEO, nobody was a creative director got to say but. Yes and. So this is what it would look like. So if we're coming up of, new ways to get the product in a new market. Let's just say if they were selling to restaurants, now we're looking at how do we get it direct to consumer, get it directly to the consumer in their home. So it would sound something like this. Okay, so the goal is to increase direct-to-consumer consumption of product A by 10% by the end of the year. So that's the brief. We call it the brief, the brainstorming brief. So everybody knows what they're working toward. So somebody starts and says, okay, so we could create an online catalog that is based on the local seasonal fruits and food that are in their location, and we'll have our chef use those local sourced ingredients to come up with meal planning, and we will have people subscribe to that on a monthly basis. The next person, the first and only thing that comes out of their mouth is yes, and what if we had it segmented by diet preference? So for those people who want to have a more keto style meal, and for those people who are gluten intolerant, and for those people who want to adhere to a strict vegan lifestyle, we can have search filters in those catalogs so that they can then select and tag the meals that suit their diet lifestyle, and they can favorite them so it's easy to come back. And then the next person in conference room says what? Yes. And what if we added a flavor of regional cuisine or by country, so that if people are like, I'm feeling Chinese vegan today, that they can select. Do you guys get the point? And it just goes on and on and on. Nobody's talking about we don't have the budget to, first of all, create a dedicated website for that. Is going to require huge data storage, because how many different locally sourced fruits and vegetables are in the world? A lot. God's a good farmer. So there's a lot. We don't have enough money to have the data storage capacity for that. First of all, to tag every single food by vegan, that's just going to take time. We don't have a full-time None of that. None of that. It's yes and. Yes and. And if you do that with yourself, when you're coming up with, okay, how am I wanting to show up in 2021? What's my word for the year? What do I want to do? What is the one thing I want to try and accomplish? I want to show up this way. And you get your own yes and meeting going with yourself initially if you have to, and you just start writing down the ideas. And if resistance and her ne'er-do-well cousin procrastination and the time waster, good time Tina, roll up on you and want to tell you all kinds of craziness, you just say, exit, close the door on your way out. Because this is how you bring in yourself to the possibility of this reinvention, this sort of reimagination that Stephen Pressfield is talking about. A professional reinvents himself. We can't get stuck. We can't get mired. Is this something you're doing? I'm always in the quest of seeking more life, more expression. How can I reach and impact more people, more millions of people across the world? So for example, my Facebook live show, Brand Therapy Thursday, was only on Thursday, and it was only in the Savvy Branders tribe. Then the reimagining, the reinvention was, okay, well, what if we push that outside of the tribe? So it's a tribe plus, right? And we put it on all of the platforms. And then the reimagining, the more life. How can I still reach and serve and impact more millions of people around the world? This Brand Momentum Morning Show, created and executive produced by God himself, is another expression of that more life, another expression of that reinvention. So now I've reinvented myself as a TV show host, right? Creating an inspirational show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, where everybody across the world, right? You know, AJ's in Africa, everybody else is kind of like local Florida, wherever it might be, people across the planet have access. That's a reimagining, because resistance would have had me say, Faith, you just burned all the candles in your life launching your online course. And now you're in the middle of launching that and enrolling people. Plus you have your one-on-one clients that you have to service. Then you have the Brand Accelerator Lounge, where all those people, you have to be doing monthly challenges and, you know, daily accountability and all sorts of stuff with those people. And honey, you don't have that kind of time. You don't have that kind of, so that's how resistance gets you. Because the reimagining of you, of course, is going to take some time and some efforting, but you don't let that be the first consideration. It's what is the goal? It's more life. How are you showing up in more life, seeking more impact? And then let God direct your steps in the way in which it should flow. But if you of your own decide, if you make up your mind that, oh, I'm not going to do that because that's not going to work, because that is what a pet peeve of mine. Oh, I've already tried that before. Oh, really? So you did a live one time last month and nobody showed up and nothing happened. So you're like, oh, the Facebook lives are a scam. It's a scam. Don't do it, right? No. More life. When you see a plant that is within an inch of its life of dying because it's in a pot that's dried out, there's no nutrition, it hasn't been getting water, it's like looking like this, just give it a little sprinkling of water. It's back to attention. So you can't look at it and go, oh my, that's dead. Oh, throw that out. That my husband can tell you. Even like the little, teeny tiny plants. Sometimes I'm like, can we just replant it? Can we save the plant? I love plants because I know, like, you just give them a minute, full expression of life again. So don't look at what you're doing. Don't look at your life, your family relationship, your business. Say, oh my God, that's totally dead. Oh, that show I did, it's totally dead. No, reimagine it, reinvent it. What is the thing that you were trying to do in the first place? You know, and maybe you were sort of stuck in this way of you thinking, oh, well, this is way it should be, it ought to. And what do I always say? Stop shitting all over yourself. No, should. Be directed, be guided, be led. Let God take the wheel. But if you stay in faith, if you stay in the knowing of this is the way I know I'm supposed to go, and however you get there, remember a couple shows ago, I talked about if you were at the top of a hill and you poured water down a path and there was a big boulder midway down that path, what do you think the water is going to do? The water's not going to go running, screaming back up the hill. Oh my God, there's a big boulder in the way. Oh my God, what are we going to do? The water says, we're going to go around. We're going to seep. The water is just like more life. And more life for water flowing is just more flow. The water is just about more flow. So whatever, even though there's a big, huge boulder in the way, nevertheless, we're going to find a way around or underneath. We're going, it's go time. These people get very creative finding reasons why something won't work. I just bob and weave through that energy and keep it moving. Yes, Melanie. You can't let those people with the negativity and the can't and this, it's like, you ever had like cobweb fall on you? Like you walk underneath a tree and you're just like, that's how annoying it feels to me when somebody says, oh, that's not going to work. How are you a gypsy? Are you a fortune teller, a medium? What do you have? Gifts untold that you can see into the future? No, ma'am. Wayne Gretzky says you miss 100% of the shots you never take. That's a guarantee. So you can't already set yourself up for failure. Oh, that's not going to work, because already that energy right there. Remember what I said? Energy flows where attention goes. If you're focused on, oh, this is not going to work. I already tried writing that book. I can't even get, the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if in your heart you're thinking, oh my God, I'm a failure, I can't write, no good ideas come up for me. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you want to be a prolific, best-selling author of multiple books, then you must start to think and feel yourself that way. And how would you reinvent yourself as a best-selling author? If you don't know how to write, go take a writing course. Plenty. Who do I tell you your best friends are? Guys who've been on the show before. Live on purpose, for purpose. If you don't know your purpose, write down all the things you love to do, what gifts and talents God's give you to make up your life. Start there. Yeah. What do you love? I always say, what comes just naturally to you? And this is what we do in the Platinum program, where I say, don't even worry about whether it's even something to do with your job right now, because that's what I can do. I can pull it together into one master umbrella brand and make it make sense for you. A lot of people can't do that because they can't see it. But you want to just first know what you love. You want to know what brings you joy. You want to know what makes you feel like, you're living in Guadalupe and just like the world is your oyster. What are the things? So it could be something like cooking, and you're an accountant, but you love cooking. Like cooking is just it for you. You write that down. It could be dancing. It could be gardening. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. You want to get that list started. You want to know what's going to be able to just make you flutter, make you come alive. And at least you have that knowing, and then try to start doing more of those things. Because sometimes we end up just doing. And if you're in a job, and I was talking to a prospect yesterday, we had a brand discovery session, and I was sharing with her the statistic that 70% of US workers hate their jobs. 70% of people who are going to work every single day, 8+ hours, hate it. What do you think that's doing to their internal organs? What do you think that's doing to the energy in the universe? What do you think that's doing to the relationship and the communication between their family, their friends? If 70% of them are just hating it, and that's a place you spend the most time, it's no good. It's no good. Amber says, I have multiple ideas. I'm just picking one and starting there. There you go, my love. Because again, when you say, God, I'm just going to try this. Listen, here's the solve. Just ask God. Just call out his name and say, God, I don't even know if this is the right thing. I'm just going to give it a try. So God, I'm just asking you to watch over me. help me through this. It may or may not be the right thing, but I'm going to give it a try because I just don't want it to be stuck where I am. So I'm just asking for your hedge of protection. You are so golden. Listen, it could be exactly the wrong thing. It could be not the thing that you should be doing. But when you call on God and ask him to cover you, to show you the way, just like the GPS, what do I always say? Recalculating, God is your GPS. So when you're thinking about reinventing yourself, you may not know, you guys know the story. Good morning, Esther. Thank you for joining. I'm so glad that you're here. You know the story about Thomas Edison, where it says, how many times did he fail before he created the light bulb? 10,000. Have you done 10,000 lives? Have you written 10,000 emails? Have you made 10,000 calls to corporations to consider your services? Have you mailed 10,000 copies of your speaker sheet? Have you mailed 10,000 copies of your company services brochure? There's work to be done. And sometimes we want to kid ourselves. And in the book Think and Grow Rich, it talks about 3 feet from gold. That, right? Gold rush, and they're digging and digging, they're doing all their things. And he was just like, oh, I've had it. Been digging and digging and digging and nothing. So this is where he was digging, 3 feet from gold. $10,000 tries, Thomas Edison, the light bulb, where now I did a live last night where I was talking about, they're talking about different leadership types and whether you are a controller versus a promoter versus a supporter versus an analyzer. And you have to then step into one of the roles that's not your dominant leadership style. And I was saying, like the analyzer would be like, okay, so let's talk about the light and the circuitry and the amperage and the wattage and how the light comes from the outside source into the home and how it's equally distributed from the can lights to the chandelier to the under-mounted cap. Me, I'm just all about let there be light. Let there be light. Those details, not interested. But an analyzer would be, so the whole point of that mastermind was, how do you connect with somebody who's an analyzer when you are a promoter? Or how do you connect with somebody who's an analyzer when you are a controller? When you're just like, just the facts, ma'am, let's go. What's the detailed decision? What is the budget? Do you have everything that you need? Have you already put a contingency plan in place? Okay, wonderful, go. Update me next week. Next. Right? Like that's a controller. And it's not that they're trying to be rude. That's just their leadership style. And we have to know that there are 4 different quadrants. Anyway, I'm digressing, getting off on a whole nother topic. Let's see here. God, I'm calling on, who is this? Please tell me your name, because if you can click the link, there's a link that says give StreamYard permission to use your name so I can see you, see who you are and address you by name. Yes. If you take away anything from today's show, God is your GPS. And you can, as long as you set the destination in the GPS, right? Where's the final stop? You put that address in, you get in the car and you're going. You're not that fearful of making a left or a right off of where you're going. If you're like, oh, you know what? I know a little shortcut. And because invariably your lady or your guy person who's the person on your GPS is going to say, recalculating. So you're never worried. If you didn't have that GPS and all you had, who remembers the Thomas Guides, the book with the maps? Hello, am I dating myself? If you had to be doing that, like that was back in like the 70s, 80s. And I remember when I lived in LA, And that's, I lived in Pasadena and I was working for Ogilvy in Los Angeles. I don't know nothing about no California. I've been like Brooklyn all the way. And here I am now living in LA. Like, how do we get from, what's a La Cienega? What's a Canyon? I have no idea about these places, right? I'm just literally there for work. I moved for my job. You better like stay focused and who remembers MapQuest? Like, this is what I'm talking, guys, about reinvention. Do you remember, or is it just me? Because I can't get no support on this one, right? When you had to map your thing before you go where you're going and print out the MapQuest directions and take it with you? Anybody? Wow, remember those? And we were good with that. We were like, yep, that's just how you do it. You map your thing, you print it out, and you go. Now, listen, my car has a built-in GPS. You know what I used to drive? This, my phone. So talk about reinvention. More life, more fullness, more use, more benefit. How are you showing up? What do you want to be, do, and have? So you want to think about that. Don't let resistance come in the way. God is your internal GPS. If you set that course to more life, more full expression in my business, I want to serve, top tier corporate clients across the globe. I want to reimagine myself as a destination corporate event planner. So when they're having those retreats, my name, Pro Event Planner, is a company that they go, oh my gosh, we're going to have a retreat in Pebble Beach. We got to call Pro Event Planners because they do destination corporate events like nobody's business. And then you just get about the business of, okay, well, what would that look like? How can I start to do that? And again, remember I say little small steps, right? MapQuest was the thing. Now we give MapQuest no thought. But when I say God's your internal GPS, what you are saying is, God, I know you've got this route on this journey called my life. You already have it mapped out. You know when the detours are coming. You're going to reroute. You know when the traffic jam's coming. Even if I have to wait, because, wait patiently, wait expectantly on the Lord. Even if I have to wait in a little bit of traffic or a traffic jam, I'm good. Please give some thought to how you, as Stephen Pressfield says, can show up as a professional and reinvent yourself in the idea of more life, more full expression, showing up bigger, better, taking up more place. God calls us to enlarge in the place of our territory. He didn't say just take a little corner over there underneath the shade. Don't let yourself be seen. He said, enlargen, not just increase, enlargen the place of your territory. You do that by reinventing the expression of you, how you're showing up, right? You go from one show on Thursday in one group to having a daily show that's being expressed across the planet. Let's see here. We beat ourselves up more than people do, yes. Sure, there are naysayers in our lives, even family members perhaps. But yesterday I deleted a Facebook page that didn't have clarity and a lot of likes on it, but the title wasn't clear enough for women. I had some self-resistance that people would think I'm wishy-washy, but this morning I created a new page, Parties with Purpose, and walking into what God has for this passion for girls and ladies to discover their gifts and talents through creative arts and crafts. Love it. Because here's the thing, if you're on the right path, right, you're being obedient to God's calling on your life. You're not in a Jonah season right now where God's calling you to do one thing and you're like, nope, I'm going over here. The Jonah season isn't fun. So as long as you know you're not in a Jonah season and you are actively, willingly, purposefully being intentional and obedient to God's calling on your life, then even when, right? So that was the example, right? Arlene had a little bit of a traffic jam right there. She had to kind of sit with it for a little bit and wait and think. But then eventually the traffic flow started and you go. And as long as, hear me, as long as you go to God and ask him first, as long as you go for counsel, so many different situations in scriptures in the Bible where it talks about when the children of Israel are just like on their high horse and they're like, we're going to get these Hittites and we're going to get these Philistines. And then they started losing the battle and thousands of Israelites are dying. And they're like crying like, God, how could... Did you ask me if I was going to hand the Philistines' head to you on a platter? You didn't ask me. You were just like, I got this. So I gave you free will. Go. Do you. But just know, as I said, everything you want in life has a price. And so it can be a quote unquote good price or it can be a quote unquote bad price, right? I talked yesterday about when I signed up for the mastermind that I'm in, and it's a year-long mastermind, and they meet every morning at 9:30, every day of every week, of every month of the year, holidays, weekends included. And me, I love to sleep, love my bed long time. And so I was like, if I'm going to sign up for this, that means what? I can't sleep in. Now I'm scheduled because one of my core brand values is freedom. I don't want anybody to tell me, oh, you got to be here. Nope. I want to feel into it. Does this feel like I'm inflated? Right. So, but because what do I want? The thing that I want, global expansion, impacting millions of individuals across the planet who want to become the CEO of themselves, who really want to build a standout brand and be the boss of them. That's not going to happen with me sleeping till 8:39 and just getting up just in time to have my first client session. Talking about I'm having a freedom lifestyle. You're not going to impact millions of people that way. So here's the price. You want this? This is the price you have to pay. You have to go hang out with millionaire people in masterminds and learn how to build and scale, right? An 8-figure plus business. You got to learn how to run a multi-million-dollar business. You're not going to get that sleeping till 8:39. So either if I really want it, that's the price to pay. If I don't really want it, then hey, I'm sleeping till 8:30. Nobody can tell me anything. That's free will. That's choice. Sure. No judgment on that. But if you want this thing, there's a price to pay for that. So I'm going to wrap us. Let me see if there are any more questions. Amber, I love that. Amber said I had a year of traffic jam, but it was good for me. Lots of thinking. I love that. Amber, let me tell you something. When I was in LA, when I moved to LA, so again, I don't know anything about like the whole culture and didn't understand the culture of traffic in LA. That was like a new thing for me because in Brooklyn, I'm just like on the train. We're just like zipping underground and we're getting to where we're getting to and we're gone. I'm sorry, the 101 and the 10 and the 405 and like everything's just, I mean, parking lot. You better be on that freeway like 5:36 in the morning to kind of have like any kind of easy flow. So what did I do? I was like, you know what? God says to redeem the time. So I got the Berlitz 123. I may even still have it somewhere. You know, the little cassette tapes, because my Honda Pilot at the time had a little place where you could play those. And whilst in the traffic on the 10, trying to get onto the 405, I am teaching myself how to parlez-vous en français. And let me tell you, best traffic jam times for me. So that's the idea too of reinventing. I'm not from a French-speaking country. I don't have any business in France. It's not like, right? But it's like, if I want to say I am all about like this expression of fullness of more life, God created language. I mean, scores and scores of different languages. Why wouldn't that be a full expression of it, getting into more life to learn a second and third? So my Spanish is working. I'm pushing myself like the plant, little sunlight. I'm like this. I'm going to just lean in to the French just a wee bit, because why not? It's expression of more life. So if you are feeling inspired, I want you to take your time sometime today in this evening and start just thinking about if I were going to reinvent, if I were going to reimagine the way that I've been doing things, showing up in my life, what would that look like? What would that look like? And not saying you're going to take any action on it right now, but again, the action, breaking through the resistance, is just doing that work on a bit of paper. What would that even look like? Because once you start to do that, ideas come to you, potential comes to you. And this show, as I said before, was not a business plan. It was on my dream board. So I do the Tim Ferriss Dreamlining, and it's this great program that you put in. So it's basically like a digital vision board, the things that you want, and then to be, do, and have. Then it actually has a section, a cost analysis. So let's just say you're like, oh my gosh, I want to have like this cute cottage, in the mountains, because I just love time to get away to think and read and write. Okay, that's a great vision. How much is it going to cost? How much does it actually cost somebody to own a cute little cottage in the mountain? So you have to go find the price, whether it's renting a cottage, a month, or fully buying a cottage. Let's just say it's in like, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Go find real estate information on owning a 3-bedroom cottage and get that price. So you're literally putting the prices in. Oh, you want a sports car? What does it cost? Are you leasing it or are you buying? Plug that number in. Everything that you're putting on your dream board, like, ooh, I want this. What's the associated cost? Now you have a real thing that you can focus on. So, it's not just this like magical thinking. Now you're focusing in on it now. So when it comes to your business and how you're showing up and commanding your prices, etc., you know what your target is. It's like, okay, so this lifestyle that I want to live is going to run me, make it up, $500,000 to acquire. Let's just say you're purchasing, right? To acquire these things on my board. So now now energetically, because remember what I said, energy flows where attention goes. So you're putting now this much attention, this much detail, actually getting the cost, actually figuring out, like if you wanted a boat and you're like, you know what, I want to get like a boat membership, those clubs. What does that cost, on an annual basis? Okay, great. Now, so you're making it even more real. Magic happens. So on my dreamlining board, one of the things I honestly haven't even finished doing all of that cost analysis stuff yet, but I had just put on there, host my own TV show. That was just like, it came up and I just put it in. That's what I want you to do. Whatever comes up, just write it. Don't judge it. Don't like, that's kind of crazy. I have no time for that. And then the next thing 3 weeks ago, God was like, go start Brand Momentum Morning Show. Out of nowhere, was not a plan. And here we are. So I want to just be such a sweet source of inspiration for you, to help you to just move one little teeny tiny step closer to your dreams, to be in the fullness of what God's original blueprint was for us. And let me remind you, in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, and he created Adam, what was Adam's job? Adam was the CEO of the Garden of Eden. And Adam's job was luxuriating, eating pomegranates, and naming animals. That was his work. Go for a cool evening breeze stroll with God. That's as hard as life was going to be for Adam. That was the original blueprint. But of course, we know how the story goes. But we can seek to get back into that full expression of how we were meant to be. So do your work. I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning, 10 Eastern, bright and early. And if you are needing support, if you're feeling like, yeah, I don't want to be on this journey by myself. I've been on the journey by myself. I just really need to have the support. It's one of those reasons why, and I just signed up for a second mastermind because I'm so serious about this thing that I want. That where I want to go, I have to connect myself with, I have to be steeped in, I have to, in my circle of 5, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who's in your 5? I'm connecting myself to my 5 to help me get to where I want to go. So I just like sign on to do another mastermind, and this time with a woman whose kingdom, who is, I mean, just a rock star for the kingdom, made like $150 million in 15 months, teaching people how to do online marketing, etc. So that's another person that I've just added into my 5. So if you're looking for a place where you can be, where you're not just out on the edge of the road by yourself, come on in to the Brand Accelerator course. The link is appsumo.com. You can just go there and search it. It's only $95. It's a one-time special promo price of $97 for lifetime access. So many people who are in the accelerator on the show right now, they can tell you all about it if you have any questions. But that's just what I'm doing right now to give some place for you to land, where you can be comforted, where you can be encouraged, where you can be pushed into the fullness of you. And if you're out on the road by yourself, I'm inviting you to come on in. So if that speaks to you, go check it out. I will see everybody back here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. Have an amazingly, amazingly blessed day. Bye, everyone.